Another beautiful Saturday morning. It's always a lovely time to talk politics on independent television and radio. More so, the 2023 election, general election, is just around the corner. Of course, earlier this week, the ruling party in the country, talking about the All Progressives Congress, concluded its primaries with the emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as its standard bearer. Earlier, the PDP had done their primaries with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar emerging as the presidential candidate. Within the week as well, other presidential candidates emerged. Labour Party threw up Dr. Peter Obi, who of course was a former member of APGA, former member of PDP, before eventually he parted company with the party, seeking his political future elsewhere. That has come to fruition in the Labour Party. The factional presidential candidate, we understand, has since decided to step down and decided to pitch tent with Peter Obi ahead of the 2023 election. These and lots more will attract our attention on the program for today. As usual, our studio line will be open so you can call and be part of the discussion. You can follow me on my personal Twitter handle at Duke Okosun. I'll follow you back on our Twitter handle at ITV Radio NG. Okay, let's get started with the part of the primaries that has been attracting a lot of attention in the last couple of days, and it will be so for years to come, because some said primaries has never been this dollarized as we saw in the primaries of the two major political parties, talking about the PDP and the APC. Some are saying if the primaries were so dollarized, what will happen in the elections proper? Others have said, well, that happened because it's been part of the culture. Primaries are usually characterized with spending of monies just to ensure that the delegates are comfortable and they're able to vote their minds and their conscience. But that's usually not always the case. That's the impression that I'm given. But let me get a panelist on board. Barrister Gentleman Amego is a veteran politician and public affairs commentator. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We also have with us in the studio, he's been away for a while, but we're glad to have him here, another veteran politician, public affairs commentator, Honorable John Yakubu. Is a former PDP governorship, deputy governorship candidate in Edo State. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Duke, for having me. Good morning, viewers.
We have Barrister Greg Iyayi, a legal practitioner, public affairs commentator. Thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you very much, viewers. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, let me start the conversation today with John Yakubu, because he's not been here for a while, and I know that Barrister Greg and Barrister Mego have been with me a couple of times in recent time as we looked at the issue of the primaries. What's a major concern about how the primaries came out? And we've talked about the issue of the influence of state governors as it relates to Nigeria's politics. That seems to have played itself out in a very pronounced manner in these primaries. And then the aspect of it is the money aspect of the primaries. What are your greatest concerns from these primaries?
Well, thank you, Duke. Let's be sure here that if one of the first major problem or challenge we had with that primary was the issue of the mistake made by the both National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Rep, for excluding the statutory delegates. So that, first of all, reduced the number of delegates, the number of persons, the number of politicians that participated in the primary. A lot of persons, including governors that you just mentioned, that mobilized order to Abuja could not vote. So that was a major setback. Looking at the number of delegates that voted in the PDP, you just discovered that you just had barely 774, a situation where you ought to have had close to 2,000 or 2,500 delegates. That was a major problem. So it was not actually because the governors influenced the delegates or just because the delegates controlled by the governor. Don't forget that we have less than 50 states under the control of PDP governors in Nigeria. So when you talk about governors controlling delegates across the 33 states of the Federation, you are indirectly saying that some of these governors adopted other states. And I can tell you that that was not the case. There are some of those delegates who voted in the PDP primary, most especially those delegates from states that are not under the control of governors, voted for the persons they strongly believe that will carry the flag of the party to the next level. And I'm sure that's why they voted Atiku. So it is not the issue of governors now controlling. Okay. Yes, one of the participants, Wike, complained about his co-governors. You can restrict that to the number of states controlled by the PDP governor. But like I said, majority of the 36 states of this federation is not controlled by PDP governors. Okay. So what we had is not, the influence of the governors was there, but it was minimal. So
conversely, comparatively to the APC primaries, what have you got to say?
Well, to the APC primaries, you realize, you saw what happened, and not just the governors now, rather the process was hijacked by the governor as against what the presidency wanted. You saw what played out about 2-3 days to the primary. The national chairman was telling us, oh, this is the person we wanted. The governor says, no, this is not the person we wanted. The president said, no, I am not involved. So at the end of the day, the party, the structure of the party, as heavily financed by the governor, the sitting governors, hijacked the party, and they did what they wanted. So what we have today, I can tell you, though a lot of persons will be pretending about it, most especially the APC members, that that the presidency wanted was neutral. Nobody can be neutral in the primary that will usher in the person that will replace him. He was beaten to it. The people hijacked it and they pushed him aside. And today, that is where he found himself as a party member, as a party that brought him to power. I can tell you that he will try to adjust to see what he could do.
Okay, we heard about dollars exchanging hands in the primaries. In the PDP, 10,000, 15,000, 25,000. In the APC, $10,000, $25,000, $5,000. We heard these things in the primaries. John, you have been consistent with politics. You know this thing is true, isn't it?
Duke, let me say for sure, and by the grace of God, though I was not a delegate, I was not in Abuja. So whether dollars changed the hand, like you are saying, honestly, is unknown to me. But that will not rule out the issue of money that change hands in Abuja. But let me tell you the problem here we have with the issue of money in Nigeria politics. Elsewhere, money is involved politically, heavily involved. But the difference between spending money in the civilized climate and the one we do here in Nigeria is that rather than spend money on logistics, campaign, policy, promoting policies of this political party, what we do here that is absurd is that you pay individuals. Individuals are actually supposed to contribute money to the political party to enable the party campaign, rent vehicles, hire aeroplanes, go to places, billboard and what have you. That is why everybody, the ownership is by members of the political party. Everybody must contribute, no matter how small it is, to the coffer of the political party. But what you have in Nigeria is that individuals, money bags, coming out to hijack the entire process, and at the end of the day, the party belongs to them.
Okay, let me pause you there. Pastor Mego, the conversation has been along the lines of power shift from the north to the south. Do you think that is a major reason why the APC primaries eventually turned out the way it came out? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Duke. As a party stalwart and as a delegate, I saw it all.
You saw dollars.
I saw it all. Well, we have to thank our governors who insisted that power must come to the south. Whatever they were planning, the chairman of the party and Mr. President, we don't want to take that one as anything because we finally got the presidential candidate to the south. That's our first joy. The next thing is, okay, what played out? I'm not saying there was no dollarization over there. There was, certainly. But to those who went out begging, or to those who now say they hustle instead of begging, they have come here to hustle. So they go from one office to the other. Some of us couldn't do that kind of thing. We have somebody who is very passionate about a particular candidate or a particular aspirant. He brought all the Edo people into one room and spoke to us passionately. We listened to him. We're always listening to him because he has very sweet words to tell us. So that's how we voted. But we saw people carrying dollars here, and it's very unfortunate. We don't know where we are going in this country. But everybody should rise up against that. The only improvement we have had in politics since 1960 is the fact that people can now carry boxes and go and fill boxes in their homes. That's the only improvement. We are 62 years now of independence. Nothing has actually moved. Right from the time you were born, nothing has changed in this country. And we don't hope anything will change. We still need about 200 years or 150 years to be able to stabilize this country. I tell you why. There's so much hunger here. And so when a little carrot is dangled, you see people going for it. Those who collected leaders $1 million, they're already thinking of buying cars. They're already thinking of going to acquire properties. You know what it is to $1 today. So the only way to stop that, I think in my own mind, is to educate everybody. I tell you what happened in Abuja. People line up to say, I want to vote for X. The person writing name for them is there. They tell you, this is the man I want. The person writes anything he wants to write. And he gives it back to the person. He goes to drop it in the box. Doesn't even know
who is voting for, why he's voting.
Doesn't know who the man wrote for.
Okay. It picks the paper and jumps. You are telling me, please write Tinubu for me, and I go and write Sebajo. He will not even know what you have written. He goes to draw, and that's a failure. It's a failure for us. So I am very, the only thing that can stabilize this country to going away from dollarization, which is now a new one, not Naira anymore, is economic power. You can't bring that kind of money out in America. The reason is that everybody has a job to do. Everybody can feed there. Unfortunately, we cannot here. So, for example, now, you cannot buy a car and come and give me as a gift, and I say, oh, I just say thank you. But other boats will be rolling on the ground because I already have cars in my house to ride. So if everybody has 3 square meals in a day on this table, it will not bother what you are going to give. So we must work hard, bring education to the doorstep of everybody in this country, and kill hunger. If hunger is killed, nobody can buy anybody over. Okay, Barrister Greg, I know we talked about this extensively, but the last primaries perhaps took it to a different crescendo entirely. Are you still concerned as much as you were from the very first time we talked about this issue?
We all should be concerned, as I am, because the issue of monetization of the primaries is something one cannot understand. Indeed, it even went, as we were told, from the aspirants by delegates to the aspirants by other aspirants. So
it wasn't about buying delegates now.
So
what you are saying, for the PDP, it was buying of delegates. And then for the APC, buying of aspirants. Interesting.
You can see the drama that took place. Okay. People that told you after they had spoken on the grammar and told you that they have solution to the problems of the country, they will say, however, I have seen so person who can do this thing better than myself. Then why were you wasting time on all the grammar? Why don't simply tell us I'm here and I have consulted with my people? There's always a way to say it among the politicians. Our daddy knows. And yes, then you say, I'm stepping down for so person. Instead of wasting the time, and then we listen to you, and at the end, you tell them, look at the only female aspirant who should have stuck out her head. And anyhow, the worst is that you get 0 votes.
Absolutely.
At least would have.
I mean, some got zero votes.
Yes.
In Lagos, there was a rousing welcome reception for them at the airport, as well as scoring 0 votes. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So she would have done that, but at least she would register her name in history. Only after all the dancing and drama to tell us she was stepping down. So that was where I became concerned. And it goes to actually vindicate, in a way, what people were saying, that some of these aspirants, they were actually planted by some other aspirants to just gather votes and then create a drama of their own popularity. And then at the end of the day, step down and hand over the delegates to them. That is where I really got worried. Because initially I was wondering, why so many aspirants? Why so many aspirants? But we saw that majority of them were just there to hand over their delegates to others. Well, it's something that should worry all of us, honestly.
All right, John. Let's talk about, because now we're moving into the election proper. Yeah. INEC has already given a deadline as to when all political parties should submit the list of their candidates and their running mates. Now, going into the election, the next challenge for the political parties is the running mates on the part of the PDP, APC. But there is a certain Dr. Peter Obi in this whole equation of conversation. Let's get your perspectives moving into the elections.
Well, if you want me to discuss Dr. Peter Obi, that is the presidential candidate for the Labour Party. He was one of us before he left. An intelligent man, upright man to the core, and a man who speaks about productivity. You talked about hunger a few minutes ago. You have hunger in the country or anywhere in the world if productivity is zero. As we are here today in Nigeria, productivity is zero. Rather, we're struggling to get the little money available in government to the pockets of a few people. And that's why Obi is saying, let's begin to talk of how to produce things that this country needs to produce so that we can begin to consume what we produce. Obi, yes, is in Labour Party, but how far he can go is another cup of tea. Because the structure of the party under which he's running is probably not there as of today. But whether that can be built within the next 9 months is another kettle of fish. But look at the election proper. Look at the guideline by INEC. Like he said, what we have today, the joy of politicians, my joy today in the next political dispensation in casting our vote is that nobody, even if you come to my polling booth to decide to take my ballot box away, you can take it away. But you must surely bring it back for us to cast our vote. So Nigerians, this is your time. Honestly speaking, this is your time to make sure that you are properly registered. I have been in politics for over 30 years, and what we have today is completely different from what we'll be practicing.
That's right. And
INEC have also been given the authority and power. If a particular polling unit is cancelled, you have the power to cancel, because before now, you could muzzle an INEC officer to announce a wrong result. And once that has been announced, you are asked to go to court. But INEC has so been empowered now that if the man is on gunpoint, has to announce a result that is not correct, and he so announced that result, he can go back to his office and cancel that result, giving reasons and why that result was announced. So what this process, what the present National Assembly has given to us, if properly practiced, I tell you, we will move away from where we are. But what we want Nigerians to know now, please, the issue of money politics is something that will be difficult for us to erase. But we must take that away from the political process. Because the moment you accept 3,000, the moment you accept 5,000 naira for casting your vote, you have sold your 4 years to the person you are giving money to. But let me tell you the reason why politicians look for money. I'm a practicing politician. Recently, I had an aspiration which I dropped in my party. Sonny, if we are from the same village and we go to our villages to probably organize a meeting, political meeting, Sonny Duke, they'll say, you know him, he's also and so in ITV, he's coming for a meeting in our village, everybody will gather for you. But by the time you leave that meeting without a drink, food, and money, the next time you are calling for a meeting, I can tell you, not 10% will attend that meeting. No. So what we are saying is that we must appeal to the people. Let's own the political process. Let's begin to make contribution. Let us begin to make sacrifices, so that at the end of the day, we can hold some persons responsible for what they are doing. What they do now is that I'm ashamed that a man will come with millions of dollars. Like he said, he saw dollar. Like, I told you at the beginning, I was not in the primary, so I didn't see dollar. But I heard as I said, look, I saw dollar, but it was shameful. But what the man is doing is that he's investing his dollar to take the little dollar that is in our central bank away. He will not give you $10,000 and not take 20,000 when he gets to the office. And that is why the dollar is going down every day. Yes. We must beg Nigerians. We must appeal to our people to begin to see how we can hold our politicians accountable. We are very fearful. I'm a politician. Politicians are the most fearful set of people in Nigeria. Once they know that the right thing will be done by the electorate, they will go and do the right thing. But why are they misbehaving? Why politicians misbehaving? Because they believe that, oh, what we do is that we just go and talk to some people, give some people money, and at the end of the day, we will get our way. But the moment the politicians realize that there is a different policy entirely, the people are up completely, and they will hold them accountable for what they're doing. I tell you, Sonny, 200 years is too long. In 6 months, politicians will be ready to change. What we do today is that because even what we do in offices, you are a senator, you are like the administration said, you are not senating us well. Let me use that slogan. And you come back home, some few persons are clapping for you, but you are a senator, you are not doing well, and you get back to your constituency, you are snapped. I tell you, the next time we get to the Senate floor and do the right thing.
More active.
So the power is with the people. Okay. They must use it correctly.
Right.
No, but how do you say there's a senator? He comes back, he doesn't do what he's expected to do. What is he expected to do? These are the arguments.
The senator, just a minute, sir. The senator is not supposed to begin to talk about rules.
Okay.
Just supposed to begin to talk about water. Give us the enabling environment, the law. I'm a trader. Give us those instruments that will make the economy get up and begin to run properly.
Yeah.
So that these private investors can begin to employ people. Okay. I tell you one thing.
The senator is not in the executive.
That's what I'm saying.
But today they build roads, they build water sources.
Let me tell you one thing, sir. Let me tell you one thing in Benin today. No matter how you look at it, that if you replicate it in the 36 states of this federation, we would have been out of this quagmire. What is that have been done in Edo State? Though very little. The ocean of 55 megawatts of electricity. If you have 55 megawatts of electricity in the 36, which can be done with few China-made generators, connect the gas that is in abundance to it. Every state in this country can provide 55 like Edo State have provided. Once that is done, this issue of having big problem of electricity would have been partially resolved. So what we are saying, like he asked, Houses of Assembly, the House of Rep, the Senate should come down and see how these issues of toll gate economy are being practiced in Nigeria can be minimized.
Okay, Pastor Mego, the point that I raised earlier is that one of the major tasks for the political parties now is to determine who becomes the running mate against the background of the way we vote in this country. I heard that Alaba International Market, there's plan to close it down for some days so that they can register, and then a group of people went there and perhaps attacked them and all of that. We heard all of that. There's some sort of cautiousness going on. The cautiousness of people wanting to really participate in this election. Yes. Apparently because they are tired of the status quo.
Well, we'll get there.
But we know that the way things are in this country, or the way we do things in this country, many a time define known pattern, known structure, no system. All right. So running mates of political parties or for the emerged candidates.
Well, that's an area you cannot just go into because they have their own friends, they have their own relations, they have their own party leaders. You see what played out in Tinubu's.
Because I'm seeing Tinubu's saying, don't present a Muslim running mates. Northern Elders won Atiku and Tinubu.
But if he doesn't, the other Christians in the north, if they say no, but for how long can they say no? A candidate now is very powerful as Mr. President. Once he said this is what he's going to do, you see your Nigerian brother is going to go down. Lesser. Go ahead, sir. That is the problem we have in this country. What played out, for example, for the nomination of Tinubu was two things. It was not ethnicity, it was not religion. It was who is good is good. Tinubu had been good for so many years. He had done so many things for so many governors, so many things for so many people. And so people thought that this is a payback time. That's why they want to come and vote for him. And if you invite him for your child for a 1-year birthday, Tinubu will be there. And he's going to support you with the money and his presence. He's been a nice man. You are hearing now that so many thousands of cars are already in the port. You are hearing rice, beans, and all others are already somewhere. These things will be distributed to human beings. And those human beings will say, it's been nice to me, let me go and vote for him. You see, the politics of today, like my in-law was saying, You can't just push it aside. We are going to go on like this, little progress, 20 years, little progress, another 20 years, little progress. We are going to go on like that. It may not be in our lifetime. I said so, but he is saying no. I said so that we need 150 years or 200 years to be able to bring Nigeria to where it ought to be. It is very sad, very sad. I've told you before, you have been reading books. You are even a PhD student now. What are you coming to do with the PhD? People are going to tell you, come on, look at you, the other man did that. Like he said, senators, come, you are praising senators. Are senators to build roads? Are senators to give you water?
No.
Are senators to empower you, buy motorcycle and give you?
No.
That's your money, for goodness sake.
It's your money.
Because the salary is too much, doesn't know what to do with the salary. Cut down that salary. If a senator is getting 2 million a month, he will not have money to be buying a generator in your house or buy you motorcycles. So all this way that we spend our money must stop.
Okay.
And it cannot stop now, because I'm capitalizing on the fact that there's so much hunger. It cannot stop now because people want to live well. People want to, the economy stabilizes. Okay, I'll give you an example. Rwanda, African country. Migrants are now going to Rwanda.
Yeah.
Because of the stability in Rwanda. Yeah. Economic stability, but everything, educational stability. Only one man, one huge former soldier is the one ruling Rwanda. Ukraine, Mexico, they are migrating now to Rwanda, an African country, to settle there. So 100 years from now, they become Rwandese. You cannot push them away. Those are to be born in Rwanda become Rwandese. Yeah. What are we doing here? We're not doing anything that just go to government and begin to award contract to your cronies. It's quite sad.
All right, Mr. Greg, yeah, you wanted to add something to that?
Yes, the issue of the vice presidential candidate, which is very, very important. Because after the presidential candidates, now the vice presidential candidates are going to become the major issue. Yeah. And by make or make a presidential candidate, I believe someone like Atiku is going to be constrained to choose a Southerner and also a Christian. I don't see Tinubu choosing a Muslim ticket. Because
I'm not sure.
This was the issue between him and Bukola Saraki in those days. Okay. When he was supposed to have been vice presidential candidate. But should they decide to do that, we see how
yes, it's a debate.
I think the mood of the nation now, particularly the attack on Christians in the South.
Yeah. There's no problem.
There's no Christian that's going to sleep with his two eyes closed. Okay. With two Muslims in Aso Rock.
They are Nigerians.
I think by now we are getting enlightened a little bit. You might say it doesn't mean even if two Muslims are there, so far they are fair, but I don't think people are going to take it like that.
All right, so, but we've had a play out of this in the past when Abiola and Kingibe,
yes,
back in the days.
You see,
yes, it didn't matter. It didn't matter at that time.
It don't matter at that time. Yes. Because the politics of that time is not the politics of today. Because Abiola, if you look at his victory was a watershed in Nigeria's political history. Yeah. If you remove the votes from the north, he won. If you remove the votes from the south, he won. Remove the votes from the west, he won. Remove the votes from the east, he won. I don't think any politician has gotten that kind of support. But if you also look at their background, Abiola will tell you that he was educated by, when nobody took him as anything, that Baptist missionaries educated him. Kingibe attended Christian schools. So I don't know whether that influenced their
dispositions.
Yes, and Kingibe was singing Osho Baba, whenever he was campaigning. And Nigerians were not really bothered about Muslim tickets because of the personality.
Okay.
Where is Kingibe now? Where is he?
John, quickly.
On this issue, we over time, like he said, we have moved from being Nigerians to being Christians and Muslims. It's unfortunate.
It is.
We have moved because I participated in 1992 general election that I ushered in Abiola. Nobody talked about You know, I was in George for that primary. Nobody talked about Muslim ticket. But like I said, we have moved. It's dangerous. We have moved from where we ought to be talking about the development and the productivity of how to grow Nigeria to a situation where we are not talking about brothers and sisters and religion. But I tell you this, the person saying that, the former Senate president said, Bukola Saraki, what he said to Tinubu was right. Because the situation we are shows that nobody can trust the entire country into the hands of a particular religion, because of the fact that over time we have moved from a safe haven to where we are put ourselves today. Let me tell you one thing. Not because we are here, we are all Christians, probably because we are all Christians here. If any party, any of the major party in Nigeria today decide to go for a Christian candidate, nobody, the vote would have been gone. If PDP today decide to go for Christian candidate, president Christian, the vice president Christian, the result you will imagine. So if the CAN is saying both mega parties should make sure that the thing is balanced, I mean, so be it, they are not wrong. You sit down today and tell yourself, if Atiku were to be a Christian from the north, and Atiku come to the south to pick another Christian from the south, how will his brothers in the north look at him? Okay. So the issue of Muslim Christian, because of the way we have come up in Nigeria, the way we have operated the country over time, the Christians are saying, let us have a breathing space. Because if care is not taken, let's not begin to look at the issue that will come up. So it is better for both parties, including Obi, looking for a running mate, going up north. We also now begin to look for a Muslim north. Okay. So that is the issue. Right.
If you just join us, it's Politics Today on independent television and radio. Beautiful Saturday morning. Looking at some of the major activities that were on the front burner in the last couple of days in the build-up to the 2023 general elections. And we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how these things will pan out in the days to come. But the most critical part of an election, which is of utmost concern to every stakeholder, is the need for everyone to take full responsibility for the electoral process. What exactly am I talking about? Voter registration is ongoing now. I've heard this a number of times. People say, look, the level of political consciousness in the north is higher than what is obtainable in the south. But if you go to INEC and check the statistics that they have, you will discover that probably you have more people registered in the south compared to more people registered in the north. But the only difference is that on election day, the level of people that will turn out for election in the south will be very low compared to the level of people that will come out turn out for election in the north. So how do we bridge this gap? That's a big question against the background of the realities today. Insecurity is still on the high, and people have said that, well, on account of that, will the election hold? We haven't heard anything in that direction from INEC. INEC has continually maintained that the election will hold, and they are doing everything possible to ensure that the election holds in every part of the country. Of course, recently we heard that INEC chairman had a meeting with the Air Force, I think the Navy as well, just to see how they can have that synergy to ensure that adequate security coverage is obtained from the Air Force, actually, to help to distribute materials and all of that. So, gentlemen, let's get back to you. Conscientization, participation is very key in any electoral process like we have. The level of political consciousness, is there something that would give us that conviction that things are changing in terms of our response to this? Let me begin with you, Barrister Grady.
I think it's very important because it's good for there to be an election, but the level of participation. Many people who even registered have not collected their PVC. Go to INEC office. you will see number of PVC that have not been collected. And then on election day, you see particularly I appeal to our youths, because all of us here, by the grace of God, we have reached a certain age. And if I say that we are fighting for you people, I wouldn't be wrong. Why should you be playing football
On that day.
on that day?
Yes.
While I will be at the fields. Even when we try to encourage some of them, they say, oh God, they go when they come. And you come back and you meet them playing football. These are people that should be very, very interested in the election and in the process. They do not participate. Some of the people who are shouting for some presidential candidates, they didn't register.
Yes.
So we should find that our youth, please. We are very concerned about the participation of the youth because they are the largest demographic group in the whole country. And they can actually influence the outcome of an election. You know, women register, the women they are trying, but our youths, please, in this election, let us hear your voice. And the only way we can hear your voice is by your votes.
All right, John, you want to ask me to that?
Well, I think there is a revolution going on. That's why when Owanle said 250 years, I said no, it's going to be shorter and very soon. You can see for the past 5 days what has happened in Nigeria. People getting up to make sure that they get registered. And these are people from the age of 18 to 25. When I saw what happened in Tafawa Balewa Square yesterday, the level of mass movement going on, even if you put 100 machines there, you really cannot get those people registered in the next 1 week. That go to show the extent of commitment and the revolution that will wipe out, that will completely erode this process that will be running for the past 60 years that is not giving us anything. We must have a new order. And that new order is what you are seeing on television. That new order is what you are seeing the youth going about. That new order is what is pushing these people. That new order is what led to the closure of Alaba market about 4 days ago. So we must get that new order. And why are people now very confident that they will vote and the vote will count? Because the issue of incident form have been completely removed. If you are not identified by your fingerprint, your facial imprint should recognition to identify you. And once those two are not there, I tell you, you'll be disenfranchised. Nobody will allow you vote. On the issue of cards not collected, let me tell you, most of those cards that have spent close to 10 years in Ireland, they should burn them. That is the truth, because those cards are yearly. So only this year now, they probably will not use it to rig election. They are yearly used to rig election. Those cards belong to persons who probably registered in more than one place. Those cards belong to persons who are not available. Because I have gone to my INEC office, I have searched the card for my unit, we have gone there, mobilized them. Those cards that are there for the past 10 to maybe 7 years, honestly should be burnt.
Yes.
So that we can now begin to look at the fresh registration. Those cards are not there. So whether the old process like it or not, there is a new order, there is a revolution. And I can sense it, I can feel it, I can touch it. The only appeal I'm telling the youth, please, tomorrow belongs to you. Take it by force. Take it. You have the power to take it. On that day, line up and cast your vote. And your vote will count. Sonny, you were here in the last election in 2020, the governorship election. Yeah. I mean, the vote counted. People voted. Nobody could rig that election. INEC has improved on that. Transmission of result is now electronic. Voting is now by only the fingerprint of facial recognition. So what are we talking about? The law has moved on forward. All we need to do now is to participate, is to be part of it. Take advantage of this new law that will be promulgated, so that at the end of this election, even if we vote in the wrong person, 4 years is 4 days. For politicians, 4 years. That is why you see persons after spending 8 years, they're still looking for more years to stay there. In politics, 4 years is 4 days. So that when you vote the wrong person into office in 4 years, just wait for him. And he will pay dearly for it. Like I said at the earlier in this program, we are very fearful. I'm a politician. Politicians are very fearful. The moment they realize that the youth and the voters are ready and they are going to hold them accountable for what they're doing, I tell you, things will change.
Okay. Do you subscribe to this?
Well, I'm not preaching revolution.
No. What I mean by I'm not revolution is talking about a new order. Yeah.
Those youths you see in TBS Square, if
they are real live human beings,
who want to take part in the political process.
Well, like he said, there are some cars that are there for past 10 years.
Yes.
Are they dead? The same youths have refused to go and collect their cards. When he said 10 years, I should think that after a full year, nobody comes to collect his card. They should get the card burnt. Because unfortunately, you go and register, you don't go back. That's irresponsibility anyway.
High responsibility.
You won't go back to collect your card. That's irresponsibility. So just get the card, and whenever they want to collect, they go and re-register. But party is supreme. The two major parties have representatives all over the country. These new parties that have come up, their structures are still very low.
When you talk about structures, the structures, are they physical buildings or they are human beings?
Human buildings.
Okay.
That's the structure we are talking about. Human beings, are they sufficiently spread in the 36 states of this federation? The answer is no. They are not in some states at all. But if they feel that, well, the man that has come will govern us better than the old one that we have been having, so be it.
You very much doubt.
No, I doubt it. Yes, because I doubt it. I love Peter Obi, but he cannot now. I'm not trying to downgrade him. It will be difficult because he's a party. Because, for example, in Edo State, predominantly APC and PDP. So if some of our market were going to say, who is that? Which one is that? It is PDP or APC.
All right, let me get this perspective from you. Is there anything wrong, even with the so-called dominant political party? They are the ones that have led us where we are today, whether they like it or not. They have led us to where we are today. Yes. Is there anything wrong if, even as a member of a dominant political party, you find someone who is better than your candidate, you vote for that person and they vote against your candidate? Is there anything wrong with that?
I've said it in this program before, that in this country election, there will be the Ghanaian model that is called skirt and blouse voting.
Skirt and blouse.
Skirt and blouse
different
voting.
Okay. Okay.
This governorship, you can vote for a particular party. When it comes to presidential, you vote for another one. You see, we are all Nigerians. If I discover that the party that I sympathize with does not present the right candidates, nothing prevents me from voting. I'm a Nigerian, and the vote is mine. You can vote for. I see something like that happening in this election.
Yeah, are you prophesying?
No. He is not the politician. He is not the politician. Myself, my
I want to toe his line a little bit.
Politics sometimes can be unpredictable. Donald Trump was never even favored to win nomination.
Yeah.
What about Macron? Macron just came up, it was like a movement. And it took...
Well, those are in civilized countries.
Exactly.
The fact that the time election outcome there.
What happened there?
We are a developing nation.
Way can happen here.
Absolutely.
There's nothing
just say what I heard some few days ago
that
in one of the states in the US, I mean, maybe by way of borrowing a leaf from us here, whether some sort of influence or gift.
Georgia, it's Georgia.
In Georgia.
If you give water to a voter,
yes,
it's a crime.
Yeah, it's a
water, ordinary water.
Yeah, it's a crime. Anyways, yeah. So, John,
let's talk about what my elders have just spoken about concerning structure and the voting pattern. I like what Paris has said by saying the party I sympathize with, and my in-law said, look, you are not a politician, we are both politicians. But let me say this. We are less than 10%, politicians are less than 10% of the voting population.
Absolutely.
And I tell you, I'll just give you an example. In the second coming of Oshomole election, we had all the structures on ground. We had our people in our local government. But on that day, it was like a movement. The voting was like mass movement. And when we finished that election and we sat down, we started asking ourselves, what happened? What I'm saying is that we are here. There is no labor man here talking about, in our midst, talking about Obi.
Yeah.
But wherever you are today, any place you discuss political matter, the next person talking to you is telling you about Obi. Because to a very large extent, that is why I talk about political revolution. Yes, you may have the structure and you don't have the people. That is the truth. The structure of these two the dominant political parties, yes, we have them across the 774 local government in Nigeria. But the voters, are they ready to move with us if we don't change? Are they ready to, how can we begin, we'll be doing the same thing for the past 30 years, and we are expecting a different result, and the people are saying no, we must change. If we gave, like you said, the primary was dollarized, if we gave dollars to people who are barely literate to give us a candidate, and the literate people outside are saying no, this man you gave to us is not the right man, and you say they don't have a choice, they will have to choose from the ones that you have. So what you are having today is that, Sonny, if you go to the market today, those women you think don't know about Obi, and you start discussing anything, you start talking about Atiku, my candidate and his candidate, the Tinubu, the next thing you will hear is that, Oga, I think you people are missing it. What of this man we believe will take us to the next level? We need to move from where we are. That is why in our campaign for our party, we're going to look for, like we had Obi before, to support Atiku. We're going to look for the like of Obi to support Atiku, so that we'll still have something to tell Nigerians on why they should vote for our party.
Right, you feel
I hope you won't face your people for the party campaign.
No, I said we're going to look for the like.
I'm joking.
To pair with Atiku, so that we can begin to.
I'm joking.
So you can call
Because you and I are leaders.
of the discussion. Hello, UL Osawage is live with us on the show. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Politics Today.
Good morning, Sonny, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I want to, Mr. Yakubu there, one of your panelists, I have enjoyed his contributions a lot. So logical, so realistic, and I think it gives hope for this country, because before now you will see politicians who will come, they will just, they say politicians are incurable optimists. They will not tell you the realities, but it's been very real, and I've enjoyed this program.
Thank you.
But my contribution is on the issue of dollarization of primaries.
Yeah.
Now, we had a golden opportunity when the National Assembly amended the Electoral Act to include direct primaries. I've often said it, we didn't understand, a lot of people didn't understand what direct primaries is. If we had direct primaries, I do not think direct primaries will have this kind of dollarization or this kind of corruption that we have. Because, you see, my father talked about poverty, and that's the reason why people will accept. I don't think so. The people who were the delegates that went for these primaries are not people who are hungry, with due respect to it, sir. So it's not an issue of hunger. It is just the way the system is, that there's the corruption that is already innate in us. And there is no advocate, there's no preaching that will take that into the cause.
Okay.
What we need to do is to put things in place to fight against it. And one of the things is direct primaries. Direct primaries, because you look at this delegate voting, delegates are put in place by people who own the party, who run the party. They make the decisions.
Okay.
So once you have
Okay.
this delegate, the people who run the party, who fund the party, tell the delegate this is the way to go. And
Okay.
this is the way to go. But if you have these direct primaries,
Yeah.
where everybody has a say,
Yeah.
only as popular as you are, everybody knows you. You don't need to bring money out.
Okay.
That's true.
But they say that is backward now.
All right.
Backward now. Everybody to go forward.
All right, Vice, UL Osawage, I'll stop you here now. Thank you. Okay, let's Sonny Igadosa is joining us live. The number is 070-8365-4889. That's our studio number. Dial it and let's get to take. Hello, Sonny Igadosa. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Politics Today. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Happy to have Joy Yakubu back, my junior uncle.
Thank you.
Junior uncle.
I wish you were the discussion on narrow of PDP. There are questions I would have loved to ask because we are too quiet to come back. If you look at the barrister statement, I listen to Mr. Amigo and my uncle, you will be surprised that are they not politicians? have they ever come to this studio without telling their pain? Last time, General Miko talked about the nomination form was too expensive. That's the party man. So what we are looking at today is as a result of the man that pays the piper is the one that pays the toll. That's why you find out that we are talking about the lack of Peter Obi. Mr. Jokubu was the only mate to somebody in Edo State. Has this something from going back to his business? If you notice, and since I have been foreign politics, General Miko has always come to your seat and talk about politics. Even among his political party, has it deviated to what he believes? So that shows that if you are looking at the running mate to Atiku, I think Peter Joyakubu is dead. Because he's not different, his belief is not different from what Peter Obi believes. You understand?
Yeah.
If we just speaking, and we talk about the issue of Christian, don't forget, the vice president is a Christian, is a pastor. What has he done for the Christian that have been massacred since I have to them? So what we are talking in Nigeria is a result of self-centeredness and parochial issues that have held us back. Because if the Constitution says that Nigeria is a secular state, so if the Constitution says Nigeria is a secular state, what is the issue of a religion, whether Christian or Muslim? We should have a project that has to do with Nigeria.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. That's what I advocate.
Yeah.
2023 will be a recover for anybody that desires to make a change in our country. Because Mr. Buhari has not made a difference.
All right, so Nigga Dosa, I'll pause you there now. 070-8365-4889. That's the studio number we're currently using. You can dial that number right now and let's get your take on our conversation so far on the 2023 election. 070-8365-4889. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Go ahead, please.
My name is Tayo. I'm coming from Benin.
Yes, please go ahead.
My own take is that I think because of the peculiarity of our situation, all the political parties and the candidates should choose like if it's a Muslim, you choose the Christian as one image because of the peculiarity of our situation. Don't think we have reached that stage yet that we can take ethnicity and religion out, totally out of our politics.
Okay.
That's my thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. 070-8365-4889 is our studio line for now. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name?
My name is Rina.
Okay, we know those who will call us, and the voice they bring on board will just tell us where they belong. 070-8365-4889. Good morning. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? You're live on Politics Today. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning. Anyways, okay, Hayes, go ahead, please. Be quick. Hayes, we can barely hear you. I'm sure it's a network issue. We can barely hear you. Okay, now we're just on the verge of concluding the program. The big question is, who succeeds President Muhammadu Buhari? He appealed to his party men and women to allow him to choose his successor for this election, but that didn't materialize. The state governors twisted him and got the candidate that they feel best represent the interest of the party as we have it today. But the country has gone through a lot in the last couple of years, and the question is, what kind of leadership should we expect to be birthed in this country in 2023? For crying out loud, if we want to employ a vice chancellor for a university, we'll look for the best, we'll go for the best. If it's a company, we'll go for the best. What stops us from doing that in 2023? What are expectations, Barrister Mengo, quickly?
Well, the people will decide. All of you will decide. That is the expectation we're having. Because we cannot zero on this one is going to do better than the other. So we are all Muslim now. Muslim in the APC, Muslim in PDP.
There's a Christian in the Labour Party.
Yes. Well, there's a Christian in the Labour Party.
Yes.
That's not a serious matter. That is
it's a very serious matter, Barrister Mengo. Very serious matter.
We would,
okay. Well, tomorrow is, interestingly, tomorrow is Democracy Day.
We are talking about format.
Yes, President Buhari will be making his Democracy Day speech tomorrow. So what are expectations, John?
Well, I want to say here that our expectation is to move away from the status quo. For a man in APC to begin to tell Nigerians that I will continue from where Buhari stopped is an insult to the sensibility of Nigerians. If you have taken us from fire pan to fire, and you are telling us you will further take us to a bigger oven, I really don't expect what you want to let Nigeria know from that angle. So what we are saying is that we want a change from where we are. At least, like somebody said, I want to say this. When Tinubu spoke a few days after his nomination at the candidate, he said, oh, I'm going to rescue Nigeria from the 17 years of misrule or 16 years of misrule of PDC. People said, please take us back. take us back. Yes. It will be better for us to go back to where you took us from rather than telling us now that you want to take us further. So my expectation is that Nigerians want to change the present government.
I think Nigerians deserve a good government, very good government, a government that will unify the country, and then that will banish hunger, and then look at the youths as assets, and don't look at them.
Listening president, that's what we want.
A listening president.
Listening president.
So we've not had a listening president.
I don't know about that.
I want an active president. Not just
Anyways, the expectations are high. Tomorrow is Democracy Day. We'll be having a special Democracy Live Studio discussion here as part of our special edition of TMI Sunday. You look forward to that program. Evans Unokogia and the rest of the crew will be here to do justice to that. But again, Nigeria is ours. We have a responsibility to change the narratives. Ensure you get your PVC. And rest assured that vote wisely. That will be the turning point for Nigeria and for things to change. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. On behalf of all of us here, this is wishing you a great weekend. And once again, happy Democracy Day in advance.